Welcome back to the channel. I'm Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. This is a channel where we pick up cars mostly through auctions, some private sales, some insurance auctions. We bring them back and do whatever it takes to get them roadworthy, looking incredible and clean and fresh, and setting them wild into the world once again. So we cover everything from auto detailing to mechanical issues, to painting, interiors, exteriors, wheels, tires, aftermarket custom work. We just love cars here. We love to share our content and share our passion with you guys. So enjoy the ride. While at the auction, the last visit, I did not find anything to bring home. That doesn't mean I didn't find anything. It's probably because the bids went way over what I was willing to pay. When I go in there, I do a ton of homework. I find the cars that I'm interested in, then I take a closer look. And if they pass the look test and the run test and everything else, I'll go eat lunch and do some more research on them. I picked about 3 or 4 out, and they went way over what I was going to bid for them. When I set a price before I go back into the auction, I will not go over it, unless it's something I'm really interested, maybe for myself, but that rarely happens. If it goes above the set ceiling bidding price, I start walking away, even when the auction is still going. I did find something on the red line or the E line, and that is a line at the auction at the very end where the cars go through that do not run. So you got to be prepared, if you're going to win that car, to get it towed home. I spend, by the way, that auction goes about half hour before the main auction goes, so it gives you a chance to relax and concentrate on that line. I watch just about all of the cars that go through, and there was this Range Rover here, which I've had 3 Range Rovers. I would never pay big dollar for a Range Rover ever again. You know, just the experience I had. I like them. I have a love-hate relationship with them because of the issues that they have. The one that I had, one had electrical issues. The infotainment center would go blank and have to reset in the middle of driving. Others I've had airbag issues. This one went across, this was one of 4 Range Rovers that went through. And during my homework, I found that this one here went through a dealership that only takes vehicles that are mechanically, they have an excellent foundation. And if there's something wrong with them, it's still going to move. It's just something minor that has to be taken care of. So all of these cars on the red line or line E are under $1,000. They're going to be just hundreds, and then it's up to you to get them roadworthy. I picked this one up and won the bid at 600 bucks. So even after fees and registration and all the other jazz, it was still under $1,000. Then I don't mind gambling on a Range Rover because I do enjoy them very much. It's just they are not reliability, and the cost to keep them on the road sucks. But I won this one. I had it towed home. It's here at the shop. Let me go over the challenges that we have and the problems that it has. So this here is a 2010 Range Rover Land Rover HSE. It's in a nice silver color, and I like the challenge of getting these silver colors to stand out, guys. Silvers, whites, champagne colors. You can really get them to beg for your attention and grab your attention if you put some elbow grease into them. We're going to do that eventually. We will get it going. But this is an excellent foundation. I checked it out closely. No rust anywhere. All of the other ones were in accidents. You could tell the alignment issues that it had front and back. Some had some rust bubbles. You know, these are all approaching 15, 20 years old already. So, you know, this one here hardly even has any dings. So a very solid foundation. And when I look at these things, you gotta get down and lay on the ground. Don't wear anything nice. And check underneath. This thing has hardly any rust. This is the Northeast, so you're going to need to expect some rust. But this hardly has any cross members, the joints. It's just in excellent shape. I mean, the frame's aluminum for the most part, but even the suspension parts have any, you know, they're absent of hardly any rust. Now, there are some things we're gonna have to take care of when we get it running, and it needs a headlight restoration. We're going to repaint the center grille here. I'm gonna show you what I've used to remove. This thing is covered in sap all the way from front to back, and that sap has been sitting there and baked on for what I'm going to guess is years. And I'll show you what I use to soften that up and remove it, and then underneath it's going to be etched into the clear, and we'll need to do some polishing. So polishing, touch up, sap removal. The interior is in really good shape. Really good, old, classy, luxurious look to it. Another thing that I was really confident in buying it. These are all the repair orders in the last couple years. Every single one, and I went through them all. Everything, all the work was done to this thing at the dealership. And, you know, if you're familiar with the dealership, you get your car worked on there, they're going to want to replace everything with new parts because that's how they roll. Their employees and their sales employees, they want to make money on that commission. Really on this side, just the seat here, I'm going to show you how to fix that. That is no big deal whatsoever. Everything else just needs a freshening up. But just a very, very nice vehicle. That's going to look good. It's very comfortable. It's powerful with the V8 for the weight and the size. It has an incredible sound system, carbon, speakers everywhere. Got a sub in the back. The AC is ice cold. So then what's wrong with it? Well, let me explain. All right, I'm going to sit next to my best buddy here while we go over the issues that need to be straightened out. So it was traded in because this thing overheated, and the owner was very meticulous, and as you can see by the record keeping, that holds true. What's nice about this dealership, when they send cars through, they send neat little notes along with the cars that give you a little bit of a background as to what they're about, if they have any issues, and why they were traded in, what they were traded in for sometimes. This one was traded in on a brand new BMW. It's a one owner, has 129,000 miles, and they took it to that same dealership its whole life in eastern Pennsylvania. It overheated, they brought it in. And just with a quick check, the tech told the owner it was either the thermostat, radiator, water pump, hoses, leaks, or worst case scenario, head gasket. And as soon as the owner heard that, gone, traded in on a brand new Beamer X5 or X7, I think. So what they do is they get the car then and complete the trade-in, and the car comes into the auction straight from the dealership that week, and away it goes. So for $600, I got it, and I can tell you it's not a head gasket. No steam or droplets, no steam whatsoever coming out of the exhaust pipe. It takes a good, I'm going to say 30 minutes or 30 miles before it even starts to overheat, because I tested that. I was very careful and As soon as it started to get warm, above normal, shut her down. No water in the oil. In fact, let me show you the oil that we drained, because we're going to do 8 fresh quarts and a new filter anyway. And yes, dirty, smelled a little bit of gasoline, no water whatsoever. Head gasket is perfectly fine. So what is it? Well, let me get a towel here. Well, radiator's not cracked. There was a hose going from here over to the overflow that was cracked. It's a plastic hose. Actually, I have it over here. It's this guy right here. So I ordered one of those. And since it has under 29,000 miles, I ordered a water pump. Here's the water pump. It's not hard once you get the fan out of there and the shroud. Plenty of room to work on these. And that's another reason I don't mind working on these. I'm familiar with them. And you can do some work on these to a certain extent. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, and then unhook this hose, unhook that little, I don't know what you want to call that, it's another hose. Water pump comes off. There's another plastic part inside there that gets replaced. It's another reason I wanted to do it. There's plastic inside there. I don't know why the hell they do that. And then also the bearings go bad on these. They start to wiggle and chew up belts, and they just don't function right after a while. So that's going to get done. Then I have a peace of mind. Thermostat. Thermostat's not too bad either. 5 hoses go into this thermostat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A pin, and all the rest are clamps. And the thermostat is this whole unit that it goes into. And then it's just, where is that? Let me see. Right there, I think, is where it gets secured. So that's the only thing holding it on. Once you get the hoses removed, that comes off and a new thermostat goes on. No big deal. And while I'm in here, I'm going to replace the belt. That is a long serpentine belt. I mean, look how long this belt is. So the serpentine belt, and I might as well do the hoses as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. And then that will take care of that. And she'll run nice and cool. Motor won't overheat. The motor is strong and very quiet. Like I said, they took care of this and got the oil changed regularly. I took the sticker off because it's getting a new one, but that's where it was, and it wasn't even due yet. But yeah, we're gonna do it right, get it back on the road, and she's gonna give me plenty of good mileage. Tires are good, plenty of tread, everything else works. AC's nice and cold, shifts excellent. So how about we get this water pump out of here, get the thermostat out of here, and then we should have our parts coming in within a few hours. Let's get to it. By the way, a lot of people wanted to know what type of light this is. I use this for under hood and interiors as well, and LED, and it's just excellent how it will pull apart so you can hang it from underneath of a hood or inside an interior. This is a Blue Point, and I'll try and remember to put a link down below in the description box. Blue Point underhood, corded, and they have uncorded as well, light, LED light. This one's corded. I don't mind it when I'm working under the hood here. When I like to drag these into an interior of a car, I like the chargeable, cordless, but it is a Blue Point. Okay, here it is. And then there's this plastic piece. Why in the hell they have plastic in there, I don't know. But that's where it is. Goes into the back of the pump, just like so. So I'm going to clean up where the gasket goes, and then where that plastic part goes. And then we have to get the thermostat out of there as well. So we now have the water pump and the thermostat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, some wires. Holy cow. I mean, what the hell is going on here? No wonder that part is under so much pressure. So we need to get that line, an elbow, thermostat, the water pump, and then we can get everything back in here once again. So again, the Blue Point corded, and then here is the Blue Point that gets charged through USB. See if I get the numbers to focus. So you can go under the hood like that, or the way I have it, or for interiors, it hooks nicely right like that. Work on the cabin up front, switch it back to the back, it fits just as well there. It hangs on your door handles as well, clips on there, but it's just fine on the outside. Won't touch the paint, just keep it in the door jamb area, it works fine. I also like to use it when I'm working down low. It balances perfectly, just like that. Then you just turn the light around and you can get light changing the oil, working on side skirts or side steps or exhaust. Just a very universal, lightweight, practical light, but not cheap. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for this video. We just have to wait for the parts to come in. We'll get it together, and then it'll be easy to tell if that worked. If not, the only other thing that I didn't do is the radiator could be clogged, very rare, or the fan clutch. Now, that felt decent. I know what it feels like when a fan clutch goes bad, but you never know. Two things we could still try if that didn't take care of it. And all we have to do is take it for either 30+ mile hike, very locally, maybe just go around the shop 68 times, or run it for 35, 40 minutes or so. And if we get past that, we have ourselves a very neat automobile, and we can keep going with it and turn it into a good-looking automobile as well. Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning, the shop manager as well, and we'll catch you in the next video.